Welcome on into Card Central Postgame. I'm Luke Slabaugh. He's Joe Roderick. Talking about the Cardinals' 7-3 loss at the hands of the Chicago Cubs. Long balls flying out at Wrigley. For a moment there, Joe, it looked like there could be stakes. And then towards the end, the only stakes really was, would Michael Busch hit for the cycle against a team that he has absolutely torched this season?
Yeah, and I know we're going to get into it, but God love Ollie for being petty enough to walk him in that last inning and let the booze rain down on him. That's a rivalry right there. That's screw you guys. Hey, he's not getting it. It's the game's close enough to where you're going to be stealing third to get 2020 on the year and get your little incentive. So you know what? Fuck him. Go ahead and just walk. We're going to intentionally walk a guy in a game that's meaningless to us. Go for it. That's what makes a rivalry. And that's why I have said on Tuesday, you know what? Give Ollie a 2-year extension when you introduce Heim Bloom to the to Cardinal Nation.
That is the smirk of a man who feels like he's got some job security heading into 2026. And speaking of security, Card Central Post Game brought to you by our friends over at Home Bank. They are our business banking partners. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one as a trusted partner. Business ain't just about the numbers. It is, but it's also got relationships in there. And with Home Bank, those relationships make all the difference. Home Bank is the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Home Bank, member FDIC. More than a bank, they're your business partner. As you so eloquently put, Joe Roderick, it was a little dose of fuck the Cubs there. And I would say, for argument's sake, what is more cathartic? Jorge Alcala getting a pitch over the plate for a strike and potentially denying Michael Busch of the cycle in a potential 5-for-5 game, or putting him on in a not a close game, but a 4-run deficit, and Ollie just kind of smirking there in the dugout, akin to a Regina George type.
Yeah, it's one of those where I'm sitting there and I'm watching the game, and I'm watching Jorge Alcala out there pitching, and it's this sense of relief, this sense of just this weight off my shoulders of caring about this team for the last month, that I looked out there and I saw, when I saw him give up the home run to Pete Crow Armstrong, and I looked at it and I was like, this guy's not going to be on the team next year. Like I don't need to care about him giving up a 2-run home run in an 8th inning to the Cubs. Like, Jorge Alcala is not a guy that I'm expecting to be traveling north with the team next year out of Jupiter, if he's even in Jupiter next season. So it's one of those where once you accept all of that, it's watching these games, and it's such a different feel than, what was it, 2023, when it was, you kind of looked out there and you're like, who are these guys that's pitching towards the end of the game? And you're looking at this because you have no idea, like because it hits you upside the head that entire season. And you kind of spent the whole year wrapping your head around, like, why isn't this working? Why are they so bad? What do they need to fix? And I think it's also that sense that going into next year, you're like, okay, I kind of see what they're going to do. Like, we might not be happy with it, but we know what the vision is for next season. And Jorge Alcala is not going to be a big part of that. You know who is going to be a big part of that is probably going to be Kyle Leahy. And the news of Kyle Leahy and the news of Willson Contreras is really kind of bigger today than anything that we kind of saw on the field.
Bigger than anything we saw on the field, for sure. And let's get into that. Game 162, after 97 appearances in a Cardinal uniform and 135 in a third innings pitched, the Cardinals see fit to put right-hander Kyle Leahy in a spot start tomorrow. It could be a makeshift bullpen game, but that's an interesting move. Does that give you more incentive to watch and put a cap on this thing, or are you fully checked out at this point, Joe?
I mean, it's going to be, is it a 2:20? It's 2:20 start time, right? Tomorrow, every single game starting at 2:20 Central Time tomorrow, or around there between 2:00 and 2:20. I think Cardinals Cubs is the last one to actually start. But it's one of those, okay, what kind of money do I have on DraftKings in the NFL games tomorrow? is going to be one of the big things I'm rewatching. But I do plan on watching a little bit of it, following along at least as long as Kyle Leahy's pitching, to see how he looks as a starter. See, kind of look at the numbers at least of what that first or second up and down looks like when he goes out there for that third inning. Can he stretch it out to the fourth inning? What kind of pitches is he throwing? Are you seeing anything different with him as a starter? Because, I mean, Cardinals right now, you go into next year, Luke, who are you confident with in that starting rotation? It's Liberatore, McGreevy, right?
And even Michael McGreevy left a lot to be desired there.
Yeah, and we expect Sonny to be gone. We expect Michaelis to be gone. Palante hasn't earned a spot in next year, so there's a lot of openings there. So yeah, sure. I love that they are giving Leahy that chance, and just go out there. Hey, go out there and throw. See how it feels.
Yeah, I just wonder why now. Like maybe because the season's already well out of reach and they've been mathematically eliminated and they needed someone to eat innings out of the back of the bullpen. But I would love an explanation of why in game 162 you give this guy some runway and give him an audition when he had been one of the more consistent presences there in the back end of your bullpen.
Because I think you have seen you've seen the little glimpses of him in the second half of the year when he's gone out there and pitched 2+ innings, and you see that stretched out. And I think you going back and looking at his past, it's like, okay, this is a guy that can, we could get stretched out to 80 pitches. We can get stretched out to 95 plus more. And so it's kind of go out there and see what you have in one outing and then make that determination. If he goes out there tomorrow and is a disaster, then I do think that starting next year, he's a 7th or 8th inning guy. But if it goes out there and he gets you into the 4th, then okay, hey, you know what? You're better than anything Palante has given you in the past month. So let's take that as a positive.
It was a stereotypical September day at Wrigley, the ball flying out, 4 long balls from the Chicago Cubs in their win, 2 of them against right-hander Michael McGreevy. We go bottom 5. 1 out, Dansby Swanson is walked, and it's a first pitch fastball over the plate at 91 against Michael Busch, who has terrorized, and I mean terrorized, the Cardinals this year. 9 home runs out of his 34.
Yeah, I'm looking here. So this is somebody posted this in the comments earlier. Michael Busch has 274 total bases this year. It says 26 have come in 2 games against the Cardinals.
When was the last time someone had the Cardinals numbered that much? It wasn't in this rivalry.
I mean, like if we're talking like historic, David Ortiz in the World Series is one of those that immediately comes to mind. God, who was the guy? Was it Scooter Gennett? Do you remember?
Oh my
Scooter
God.
Gennett? Didn't
he hit?
He had 4 home runs in a game against the Cardinals, and then put up, I think, another game soon after that. Like I remember in recent, like if we're talking last 10 years, I feel like Scooter Gennett would be a name to throw out there too.
Yeah, I think back to the ALCS when the Astros and the Cardinals did battle in back-to-back years, and the Carlos Beltran at that time had quite the swing as well.
I'd have to look at the Yelich 18-19 numbers to look back on that for him.
That 2-run home run by Busch is going to be our money moment of the game. Of course, our friends at Home Bank being the clutch friends that they are. Brought to you by Home Bank member FDIC. Call 855-577-2001. Missouri, get ready. We're talking about DK Sportsbook. DraftKings, #1 sportsbook in America. It's coming to the Show Me State. New Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when they launch on December 1. Download now and place a $5 bet when DraftKings goes live. It brings everything you need to elevate your game day experience. Live in-game betting, lightning fast payouts, endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when they go live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and with fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets when DraftKings goes live December 1st. That's code STL SPORTS in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promo. Always include the slash promos in there.
I'm going tonight. I'm living on the Illinois side on DraftKings. I'm going overs only tonight in the two big games, Georgia, Alabama, and Oregon, Penn State. I'm going to be locked in on those two tonight, going overs only on that. I just want to see points scored. That's the only reason I do it. I have no insight or anything like that. I want to watch games that have lots of points scored. So I think in Alabama, Georgia, the overs 50. Oh, for both games, the overs 53.5 for both of those. So need a lot of points scored in those two. So that's what I'm shooting them for.
Complete aside, but it seems like there were some holes in the Georgia defense early on the first few drives against Tennessee. I watched that game pretty closely, having lived in Knoxville for 3 years back in the day. But yeah, that's pretty dope. You had mentioned, Joe Roderick, that you don't expect right-hander Jorge Alcala to be with the team in 2026, coming north out of Jupiter. My advice would be don't count your chickens before they hatch if this does turn into a full-blown rebuild. However, one player we know is going to insist on being here is first baseman Willson Contreras. News out of the Cardinals clubhouse this morning. Multiple reports say that he spoke with President of Baseball Ops Chaim Bloom, says he wants to guide the team through this transitory period. Your thoughts?
I like it, and I think it has shown the Willson Contreras that we have seen since he's come here. He wants to be a leader. I think when he came here, he knew that he was following in the footsteps of Yadier Molina and knew how much that meant to him personally and how much it meant to the organization, that they wanted or needed to have that kind of leader in place going forward. And he wanted to be that guy. This past offseason, we saw him say, hey, you know what? I'll move to first base. You have these young catchers coming up in the system. You guys just, you let Paul Goldschmidt walk. I'll go learn how to play first base. And he went and did that. And I don't think that means that you pencil in Willson Contreras as your starting first baseman for next year. Alec Burleson is going to have a case to make for that with the way that he's played. You have to find a way to get Contreras, Burleson, Herrera's bat in the lineup each and every day. And those three pieces can be good, or it can really clog you up in some instances. But to know that he's sitting there and he's saying, hey, look, like I see the writing on the wall. I see Arenado leaving. I see what Gray said the other day. I know who's not coming back next year, and we didn't win this year. It might be rough, but hey, I'm willing to stick around. If the right thing comes by, I'll do it. And it could be a case too of, you know what? Hey, I'm going to show up to spring training. I'll put in my work. I'm going to have a real good first half. And if somebody like Mason Wynn is going, and this is, this is kind of where I'm going with this comment here. Mason Wynn should be the leader in that clubhouse. If Brendan Donovan's back next year, he should be the leader in that clubhouse. They are guys who will be here when the Cardinals are competitive again in 2028. If you're kind of looking at that window as being the next playoff window for this team, if his bat's well, if his bat plays and he can go somewhere and be a good right-handed bat on a playoff contender, then you trade him and you see what you can get for him and say, hey, thanks for your help this year. Thanks for being a good Cardinal while you were here. Good luck to you. Go get a second ring.
And that's, I think, the point that I was trying to get at. There's a certain tipping point where it becomes a burden to have him on the roster. He's entering his age 34 season. He got a couple years of control left. He would have maximum value this off season. In a way, it kind of reminds me, if we're looking at the other side there, when the Cubs regime came in, 10, 13 years ago, they were trying to rinse their hands of Alfonso Soriano, and it took them a couple of years to find the right fit and for him to waive his no trade clause. This is not a one-to-one comparison at all, particularly because the Cardinals right now, they're so corner position heavy. Yeah. Like Who do you stick in left? You've got this Burleson, Herrera played a couple of games. Like, you're figuring out that part. You're figuring out first and third. And so there's not a lot of up the middle talent. This conversation changes completely if he's playing a respectable catcher or still is capable of. And on
Yep.
the other side, for the Cubs, their battery, they've got a guy who was in Yadier's footsteps and put on different shoes in Carson Kelly, former Peoria Chiefs legend. So this is an interesting conundrum to solve. It feels like this could end up biting the Cardinals in the butt if he sticks around too long or if he starts to drop off precipitously at the plate.
Yeah, and as you kind of read the comments here and see everything that was said in this, in a way too, like last year, you remember, he said, "Hey, I want to be here." Sonny Gray said, "Hey, I want to be here." If you actually read in deep into those comments, he does say like, "Hey, I want to be here," but you know what? He said in there, "I understand it's a business. If they do come to him and they say, look, we want to trade you. We got a deal in place. We think it's good. The team we're sending you to made the playoffs last year. Will you waive your no trade clause?" I do think he's going to do what's best for the team or best for himself too, and that's go to a playoff team.
Very well said. Jordan Walker going yard today, making this a one-run game at one point. Thought that the tank had mostly been emptied by him. Now 6 long balls on the year in 110 games. Obviously been a super disappointing season. We've had comments fielded for days about that. Second home run of the year off of a breaking ball, which I think is great. That he is now, adjusting to off-speed pitches. Is it too little, too late for Jordan Walker, or how do you fit him into this squad
Man,
going north of Jupiter in 2026?
that's why I don't know if you had a chance to watch Bernie's show from Friday about Jordan Walker. And for anybody that hasn't yet, take a look at it because Bernie talks about the idea of just putting Jordan Walker in AAA for the entire 2026 season and not touching him. Just saying, "Hey, you're a AAA player. You're playing there. If injuries happen, we'll call up other people and just make him hit AAA pitching all year, and just don't even toy with it. Don't bring him up to the start. Don't put pressure on him to get off to this hot start. You're just putting him down there, and you're going. And man, the thought of that seems crazy after he's been up here for 3 years now, up and down, up and down, up and down. It does seem really, really wild to think that they would possibly do that. But something has to happen. Something has got to click with him. And, Bernie kind of point, like, does he love baseball? I think he does. I think I think if you look at it, he and Mason Wynn, I think, have a really, really good grasp on the history of the St. Louis Cardinals. And I know down at spring training, I know they have had many experiences with Cardinals of the past, with black players that the Cardinals have had in the past, Ozzie Smith and others, and just players in MLB that they have talked to and gotten to know and gotten to learn from and hear stories from. And I do think that they realize that they are part of a really historic organization and they want to do big things. It's just not clicking. It's not clicking for Jordan Walker the way it is for Mason Wynn. And it's, it sucks right now. And I do think the Cardinals want to hold on to it and make something happen.
I remember catching up at winter warmup 2 years ago. I was with Jim Hayes, who I'm trying to see in a couple hours here. When Jordan Walker came and did his first interview sit down at those studios in Ballpark Village, we were so blown away. Just the charisma, the way he treated people, the way he spoke, like the way he carried himself. It seemed like if this guy gets a modicum of his potential, like if he's there, this guy could be a fan favorite and be just the face of the franchise. And trying to
Easily.
unlock that for a kid who's 23 years old, it's just, man, it hasn't quite worked out. I got a comment here I want to highlight from Ace on YouTube. Does anyone know where our offense will finish after tomorrow? What place? Barring anything historic from the Texas Rangers, who are directly behind the Cardinals, in terms of OPS, the Cardinals would finish with a 694 OPS. That's not great. It is 25th in the major leagues, and they are a hair behind some other teams, the Angels, the Giants, the Nationals, all of whom have been mediocre. The Orioles, whom I've watched pretty much every day this year. So it's been a rough go as the Cardinals try to fix things on the offensive side. Final thoughts, Joe Roderick, because we got a couple of minutes here before we wind things down in this loss to the Chicago Cubs, who get the Steve Garvey Leon Durham rematch of the 1984 playoffs with the win today.
It sucks. It does. Another year without the playoffs today. And I see somebody kind of pointed in here that's watching this post-game show. Throw it out there. You guys watch baseball on Saturdays. Yeah, when we're on the schedule for for Cardinal postgame. Yes, we watch baseball on Saturdays. Had 3 TVs going in the basement today. had the exciting Illinois finish on one, had the Cardinal game on the other. So looking forward to getting all 3 of those up and running for that. I do want to also point out, I saw a comment, and I'm scrolling back to it at the moment, that I just want to quickly address as there we go. Yeah, Ray chimes in here and said, haven't seen Sarah in a while. She's still with me. Yeah, absolutely she is. She was sick a few weeks ago, wasn't able to do stuff. I thought she did shows last weekend. I could be very wrong on that.
No, it was me.
But okay, I thought she also did shows with you. But no, she's doing her other job. She's doing some sideline reporting for I think racing. Whatever drag racing she covers, whatever channel that is. And she texted me the other day that she was unable to work this weekend because of that. So yes, she is somewhere doing doing other sports reporting somewhere else. So there you go. And as we also, why didn't Donnie start? They announced yesterday before the game that Brendan Donovan pretty much shut down for the season. They're just, it's done. These games don't matter. You're good. We know what we have in him. We don't need to see him anymore.
Yeah, Cards After Dark. That was the theme around here last week. The San Francisco games. Man, those were.
I was talking about I thought last weekend. I thought last weekend that she was she was doing stuff. But I could be wrong. It was a busy every weekend now. It has been for the past few weeks. Been busy weekends here at STL Sports Central, and that doesn't change because here in several hours from now we'll have Mizzou post game followed by STL City SC post game. So 2 more post game shows coming your way today for all the sports in St. Louis. So yeah. 45. How do you feel about that 45-point spread in the Mizzou UMass game today?
Historically, UMass will screw these lines up for sure. I was at a game. It was one of Butch Jones's downfall games at Tennessee, but I was on the sidelines for that one, and it was like a 17-0 game, and they were favored by like 30, 40 points. So under a Barry Odom coached team, like maybe like I would have some fear. I think Mizzou's going to cover. I'm looking forward to watching it. Hopefully catching up with good old Chip Carey, and I'm on the show tomorrow with his son. If y'all are new here watching for the first time, baseball fans, Cubs fans, Cardinals fans, we got daily stuff here on STL Sports Central. We got the Randy Carricker Show, amazing. Sometimes with Brooke Grimsley, sometimes with Matt Rocchio, sometimes with Joe Rod, who's awesome.
I've done it once, yeah,
and,
absolutely.
The Bernie Miklasz Show, Brendan Schaefer, always a great contributor. So I want to say thank you all for tuning in here. The final score tonight from Wrigley Field, the Chicago Cubs 7 and the St. Louis Cardinals 3. This is STL Sports Central. We are presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours.